In part one of this series on the Great Commandment, I looked at the lineage of translations from the Authorized Version of 1611, aka King James, through the New Revised Standard Version, and I looked at a portion of the pericope that's called the Great Commandment, and today I'm going to look at that same material, working through the synoptics, so working across from Matthew to Mark to Luke, same pericope, and I'm going to restrict it to the section that I read last time, which is Matthew 36 through 40. So here goes. Matthew chapter 22, 36 through 40. This is from the Revised Standard Version. Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? And he said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment, and a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commands depend all the law and the prophets. So in Mark, the 12th chapter, the 28th verse, but it's the B section of the 28th verse, through the 31st verse. That there's more to this pericope in Mark, but that's what I'm going to read from it. So Matthew 12, 28b through 31. Which commandment is the first of all? Jesus answered, The first is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is, You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. In Luke, this passage also occurs, but with a bit of a twist. And it's Luke 10, 25 through 27. But again, there's a bit of a twist, and I'll talk about that if I'm spared to do so in another video. Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? Actually, I'm trying to set this up so that it's like the other one, but I'll read the beginning of it. Behold, a lawyer stood up to put him to the test, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said to him, What is written in the law? How do you read? And he answered, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And he said to him, You have answered right. Do this, and you will live. So you see, Matthew and Mark are using a structure that's really pretty similar. Someone asks Jesus a question, Jesus responds. He responds with this material from the Hebrew Scriptures. In Luke, it's turned around, where the lawyer asks him what to do to achieve eternal life, and Jesus says, well, what is written in the law? Like, you already know the answer to this. Just tell me what the answer is. And he answers, and Jesus says, you have answered right. Do this, and you will live. So this is an example of working across the Scriptures or across the Gospels. It works best usually with the synoptics, because they're working with the same material in many instances. And how to know which ones are connected to which either requires of you a pretty good memory, or you can use a dictionary-like device that's called a concordance. And when I say device, it's sometimes they're in a book form. Sometimes it's a section at the back of a Bible, physical Bible that has Bible helps. It will have something called the concordance that you can look up, usually by kind of key phrase, and then find where that key phrase occurs. And in Bibles with helps, very often at the bottom of the page, the passage, you look for the passage that you're reading or that you're examining, and then at the bottom of the page there may be a list of Matthew 22, 28 through 30, or whatever it happens to be, and then a listing of parallel passages in other Bibles or in other books of the Bible, and that's very useful for this kind of to work across the Bible, so to speak, horizontally. Another way to get at some of this is to use material that has been prepared by scholars. Of course, these other things that I'm saying have been prepared by scholars before you. But another is to get some type of parallel version of the Gospels. Gospel Parallels is the name of one version. Synopsis of the four Gospels is another one. That's I have one that's a German imprint. I mean, there are numerous versions of most of these sorts of Bible helps. Now it's just a matter of seeking them out. Some of them exist online. Things online come and go. Things in print come and go. So I don't know when you're going to be watching this video and how much interest you have in the matter. But if you have interest, you can find the tools, that they are available. You can get them. So best wishes to you.